guys, my name is Jesse Hunt, and this is the Road Traveled Podcast. On today's episode, we have an old friend of mine and fellow director, Miguel Barbosa. Miguel primarily does music videos, which is how we met and began to collaborate originally. And if you're a fan of pop punk like I am, you're gonna really enjoy his work. Miguel has over 11 million views online on his videos, which is a pretty huge accomplishment. We've only had the chance to collaborate a few times over the years, but we did one epic project together out in Vancouver for the punk band Gob, and it was definitely one of the funnest jobs I've ever been a part of. In this episode of the podcast, Miguel gives some great insight into what it's like to be a filmmaker in today's world, the struggles of being a freelancer, breaking into the industry, and other valuable lessons that he's learned throughout his career. Being a filmmaker myself, I really enjoyed making this episode of the podcast, but the things that we talk about and discuss can be applied to so many other aspects of life and work, away from the filmmaking world. Let's get to it. I hope that you enjoy. So what's new, man? I haven't seen you in like a year. We both live in the same city, but I think we saw each other way more when we were both in separate cities.
Yeah, that's what's interesting, I guess, about Toronto is there's that metaphorical divide on Yonge Street.
Exactly.
And you're on the west side or the east side. And
I'm deep east and you're deep west.
Deep west. I'm doing well. Just directing music videos, going to be doing a little bit of traveling soon, and just trying to take it as it comes.
That's exciting. Let's do a bit of a history on where we met. I think we probably met via social media back in the early days, correct?
I think it was social media. You were doing a campaign around donating kidneys, I think, during a surgery. It was when you had surgery, I believe.
Yeah.
It popped up in my profile kind of thing. And then I just kept track of you. And then I'm not sure how we ended up fully connecting on that music video.
The Gob one.
Yeah. That was our first collaboration, right?
I think it was because, I think if I'm not mistaken, a lot of my reel kind of lent itself to like a naturistic outdoorsy type thing. Okay. And your treatment and concept for the Gob video in Vancouver was very much up that alley.
Perfect.
I know what it was. I remember. Okay. You invited me to the Theory of Everything at TIFF.
Yeah, we went.
Yeah, we went. We were standing in line waiting. You're telling me about this music video that you had coming up, and you're kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do, because there wasn't a ton of money involved, right? Mm-hmm. And at the time, I loved going out west. I had a camera, so I was like, shit, man.
It made perfect sense.
Fly me out there. I'll shoot it for you.
It was literally right after the showing. I remember we're like, okay, I'll like follow up with you about this, and then it all came together.
And then it came together beautifully. Exactly. Yeah.
Good call.
I remember, and that's when I first learned, because I wasn't into Game of Thrones at the time, but you didn't like flying, and so you had this like little satchel of pills.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's the milk of the poppy. And I was like, what the fuck is the milk of the poppy?
It. Yeah.
Crazy the things that you remember, man.
That's so true too. And I have some more milk of the poppy for my flight this Saturday. Can't wait.
Still don't like flying?
Actually, I've gotten better at it. This year has been my first year without medication on any flights.
Wow.
But I do bring it with me just in case.
Just in case.
Now the goal is to not have it with me.
Okay.
No bulletproof vest. One day.
So, funny story. I'm usually okay with flying, but I was just in Tofino with my wife 2.5 weeks ago, maybe. Anyways, we went to this place where we had to boat up to its Hot Springs Cove, and we decided there's an option where you can pay a little bit more and fly back on a seaplane. So we did that, and this thing is literally smaller than a car.
Oh my God.
And it was a windy day, and I've never been afraid of flying before. And we were with 2 other people plus the pilot, and we were all kind of like, yeah, we're excited. It's cool. Nice views. We get up in the air. And then all of a sudden this thing start getting blown around like no tomorrow. It's one of the, you know how when you're flying, you just kind of like drop sometimes?
Yeah.
One of those happened.
Yeah.
And everybody shut up. Nobody talked. I think the pilot was just like, oh fuck.
Oh no. How was he taking it? Like, was it bad turbulence? Or?
It was bad. Yeah. And
Brutal.
It's just like, that's the first time ever I felt super nauseous. The rest of the flight, I was just like, it was weird. I can't even explain the feeling, but anyways, first time I've ever been afraid of flying. First time I was like, okay, I could actually die here today.
And that's the thing about flying. Like, you can't identify if it's the nauseousness that is giving you the anxiety or like the fear. So
exactly.
When it's all come together, it's really just a ball of pain for the duration.
Exactly. But you need flying to get around to cool places.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's that.
Especially in our business.
Yeah. So I guess a bit of our that's the first time we collaborated shooting a Gob music video, which was hilarious because I remember being super into Gob growing up and then forgot about them. And then all of a sudden we're doing a video for them.
Exactly. And that's what I'm realizing, especially in the last 2 weeks, the nature of our industry is your like small dreams come true every week and every day.
Yeah.
You realize you're doing things that are like bucket list things for some people, but they didn't even cross your mind. And then that's what's crazy. Like one day I'm in the desert, the next day I'm in like a pool filming, and you just end up like my friend Jake. He said it best, like filmmakers get to like have like ultimate freedom in society. So like filmmakers can shut down roads, filmmakers can shoot on the CN Tower. We just show a permit, we get to do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And then working with Gob, they were actually referenced in a Seaway video I did like years before.
Really? Okay.
So it was amazing to finally like make that reference come to life.
Kind of comes full circle.
Exactly. And it's interesting, those small dreams that come true.
Yeah.
Because for example, I've been like to Italy for filmmaking, and I never thought I would go to Italy in my entire life. And then some people, it's like their goal, they save to go there.
Yep.
And we get to do it just for a couple days for our job.
And get paid to do it.
Exactly.
Which
it's
is
wild.
It's insane. This job is crazy sometimes.
For camera operators and cinematographers, it's a little more painful, I think. For
Yeah.
sure. It's a whirlwind. We're making pictures.
Yeah, it's exactly. Fun. So, you also have like, you're a filmmaker, but like I have tracked you and kind of like looked back to when you first kind of got into these endeavors. It was kind of entrepreneurial. Would you not? You started a small production company?
So basically, Films kind of started when I was in high school and I was in grade 9. And it was kind of just a label for our music videos.
Okay.
Sorry, not our music videos, our skate videos.
Okay.
So we used to do skateboarding and stuff. And then after the skateboarding got like boring, we were adding storylines into it. And then along with the storylines, I was filming parties. I was filming like stuff at school. We were doing like talk shows. And so it wasn't like a traditional company until I got out of high school. And at that point, I was just freelancing. And my freelance journey has been kind of irregular. It's been like a mix of like heavy cold calling in some periods and like no cold calling in other periods. But as of now, it is a company, but I don't consider myself a production company because I don't want to compete with all of like the major production companies, especially in Toronto. You have Pop Rock, you have Mad Rock, and I want to join them. I send them emails.
Do you?
Yeah, for sure. I sent them 2 weeks ago. I sent emails to 20 agencies and only one replied. The one in Toronto, it's not Pop. It's the third one. I should know the name. It's embarrassing that I don't. Chelsea Sinclair runs it. I forget what it's called. Yeah.
They're pretty. They do commercial stuff, but they're pretty music video driven, are they not?
Yeah. And so basically, I don't want to compete. So I am an entrepreneur, but I'm not running it like an entrepreneur. I'm trying to be more creative and more like an artist. So
Sure.
I'd rather be the Andy Warhol than like the Elon Musk.
Got you.
So I think that's my edge with music videos too. It's very hard to break into music videos, and I'm trying to be like that artist. So when other artists see me, I'm like one of them instead of like a business guy. And that comes into like how I run the whole thing. So I don't do like revisions on edits, like revision limits, sorry. So if it takes like 10 tries to get it right, we get it right.
Yeah.
And I'm very flexible with like budgets and percentages and stuff like that. So I run it like an artist. I know I do. I have a producer right now, but she works at an agency. So I need like a full-time producer one day. Yeah. But that requires like full-time gigs.
I know.
So it's very spotty. But yeah, depending on the scale, we do have a producer. But I don't want to, I want to be part of a production company. That's the goal because yes, starting in a business is awesome. Like I recommend that if you want to, but I really just want to direct.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. What I have noticed, because I did similar things, you have to do quite a bit of business stuff too, right? Like you want to be the artist, but that's just the way it is.
100%.
And so, and I ran a small production company for a while there, and I wanted to go down the artist route more because I was kind of like, you know what? I'm doing a lot less creating and a lot more spreadsheets.
Exactly.
And it's part of the gig. I understand that, but like I wasn't flourishing the way that I wanted to. So that's kind of why I got out of that. And I will say that, and I think it's a good goal to have to go with a production company because they support you creatively, but also from a like resource standpoint, like I need somebody to run these numbers or bounce this idea around or help you with those things. That's what they're good for. That is their job. So
yeah. And pretty much for example, like the edge I want with a production company is Mad Rook gets Blink-182 requests for pitches. Yeah. And they're a huge pop punk band. Sure. I've directed over 50 pop punk videos and I'm not pitching on Blink-182 because I'm not part of Mad Rook. Right. So basically, I want to pitch on those like higher level projects. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to be part of a production company because labels don't put calls out to just Joe Schmo like me. The only labels I work with, I have like a relationship with that goes years back. Yeah. Labels rarely contact me out of the blue. They want to go through the production companies. So that's the benefit for me. And that's what I say when I'm reaching out to them. I just want to keep pitching. I don't want just like opportunities where it's at my feet and people just say yes. I want to be able to pitch an idea that's worth them saying yes to.
Yep.
So you're only as valuable as your ideas.
I was in the same spot. Like that's kind of how I got into it, because I emailed a whole bunch of production companies, and the only one that got back to me and met with me was this one.
And that's the one you're with now.
And that's the one I'm with now.
Cool.
They obviously saw something, and we're the exact same. Like I saw those benefits as well, and it's true. Like oddly enough, they're not a music video production company, but my executive producer knew a producer that worked at a record label, and last year I pitched on a Martin Garrix video.
Amazing.
For whatever reason.
Through that avenue.
Exactly. She's like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, cool song. Yeah, why not? Didn't get it, but like it was still the opportunity, right? So
you do recommend cold calling? Because some directors are like, they'll find you. And it's been 5 years since a director once told me that.
It's, you know what? I'm honestly going to say it's neither. It's who you know.
Yeah. And that's the whole problem.
Because the more I talk to them, and I've asked them this many times, the more I realize how lucky I think I am, because I cold called them and they saw something, I guess, and signed me. But I know firsthand that they're getting 50 emails from directors every single day.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what makes it difficult.
Especially in Toronto.
Especially in Toronto.
It's so competitive.
Yeah. And it's I think it's probably gotten worse since when I was emailing.
Sure.
And it's weird. I can't remember who I was talking to recently. One of our mutual contacts, I think it was Christoph. And he was saying that you want to get signed. I was like, oh yeah, you should totally go to Mad Rock or Pop Rock. So it's cool to hear that you're kind of trying to chase that down a little bit. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, and Mad Rock, admittedly last year they did want to meet, but it's all like a double-edged sword. Like a director at Mad Rock told me, like, you don't want to be part of Mad Rock because there's too many directors, there's too many people on it. So if you're at the bottom of the list, the other guys get it first,
sure,
etc. And they do have their favorites. Same with Pop Rock.
Same with every production company.
It's hard. It's hard to break in. And
the thing is, though, in the more like I've realized that a lot of production companies, I don't know what it's like in music videos because I haven't really paid attention to that business, the side of the business or whatever. But most production companies have a director that excels in one or two avenues. So I know for me with Frank Content, they've got two comedy directors, one at like a high level comedy and one at like a medium range comedy that kind of like takes the medium range jobs. And then for me, like they saw me as like a visual storyteller and they don't have another Jesse Hunt on their reel, right? So like I'm pitching on the jobs that are kind of suited towards me. But something else to keep in mind is it's a business for them too. So if you come at them with like, I've got this roster of 20 bands that are up and coming, that want to keep doing music videos, that's going to help. I had some contacts in agencies, and so they saw that as like a business opportunity too, right? So
that's an interesting angle. I've been tempted, like every year my email changes. I've been tempted to just go like, this is how much I've made this year on my own with no representation. Do you want a piece of this? Like, do you want a piece of this money? 'Cause that's what I want to say, because I think I pull in like a good amount of projects for somebody who just represents themselves and does not cold call and also does not network.
It's
I don't network at all.
I think neither do I.
It's hard, man.
It's weird, dude. We're in the same, like I totally understand where you're coming from, because there's a part of me that just wants to be the true artist that's like, they're going to find me and my work is going to speak for itself. And I was the first guy I had on this podcast. He's a creative director at a small agency. And I was talking about it's tough because my full-time job for the last 3 years has been going to agency parties and going out for lunches and stuff like that and meeting these people. And it kind of sucks. Like not because I don't like meeting these people. I really do like meeting these people, but I'm not the only one doing that. And I kind of hate having to go up and be like, trying to be buddy with them, when I'd rather just be like, hey man, I actually really dig your work and we don't even need to work together. I'd rather just be homies with you because we're into the same stuff.
Peers, exactly. And I'm big on peers.
Yeah.
Like I don't like it when a peer doesn't follow me back on Instagram or something, someone in the community. I'm big on peers and like respecting the creative people in the community.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing about networking is I cannot, like, I know I have to learn it, but it's one of the last things I can't get over, but I cannot go and schmooze. I can't like go and meet somebody and say, I'm Miguel. And I don't want to act like I'm genuinely interested in meeting you without any ulterior motive. And then people are like, no, like you can be like nice and go meet this person. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm 28 years old. Like most of my friends I've been friends with since I was in high school. My friend group, we're all very close for over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I want to meet somebody who's 40 plus years old just because they're in the same field as me.
Exactly.
And that's like my hard-nosed approach. And I know people will frown upon that approach, but I want to be genuine in my work, genuine in how I carry myself, genuine in post-production, working. And that rules out going to like drinking events and events with filmmakers and just trying to schmooze.
I know.
It's
tough.
very interesting.
Yeah, it's tough because that's kind of taken over. And I think that's what I don't like about it a little bit. Like I'm okay with the one-on-ones because then you can kind of talk about stuff outside of filmmaking. You can get to know them on a bit more of a personal level. And I'm about that. But I have a hard time going to these events and being introduced to like, oh, this is so-and-so who's the executive creative director at this agency. And it's kind of like, cool, that's like, I love your work, but can we get a drink another day? Because I don't want to sit here when there's a lineup behind me of other directors that are going to try and like kiss your ass.
And that's
not going to do anything.
Of course. And that being said, like reach out to people you want to meet and have that one-on-one. And I've done that. I've met one-on-one with lots of directors and I'm like, where do you get the money from?
Yeah.
And they're all like, I don't know. But yeah, one-on-one is amazing. That is awesome. But you're right. In a group of people, for example, I don't know if you heard the MVP project. It's like a new music video fund that RBC is doing with Prism Prize.
Oh, yeah. I think I know a guy that's actually on that. Yeah.
So I'm probably the only person who went to this event alone. Number one, I was at this event 2 weeks ago or last week. I'm completely alone. It's an open bar, so it's great. And it's hard to approach people because everybody there, they all come with like 3-4 people. There were no +1s in the invite. And I left early. And I'm not asking for sympathy. I don't consider myself an introverted person. It's just you go to these environments, they're full of people in the industry. And I'm just like a nobody, small-time guy. So it's very intimidating to kind of break into that conversation, especially if you're alone. And whoever puts on the Prism Prize, you should allow +1s because I went to this event and I thought it was an information session. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn. And it was just a party. So I went there and I'm like, oh man, I didn't learn anything. And these are just like, that's the industry, right? It's a gated industry. It's about who you know. And I don't know if the work benefits from holding up these walls. I don't think we're getting better work by making people, surf around and having to schmooze. Like you're not getting better products.
Probably not. It is a very much like a political game, which makes it tough.
But I'm not sure what they're looking for. Like, are they looking for people who are going to make the money, or are they looking to make timeless work? What do they want?
It's, you know what? It's tough because it's easy to shit on agencies and stuff like that. But then I try to look at it from a bigger picture. Clients are playing it safe now, not agencies. I think agencies are as a result of the clients playing it safe.
Okay.
So the economy's changing. People are expecting a lot more for a lot less, which explains all of the, like, I haven't done a commercial project where I haven't had to frame for 16:9 1x1 and 4x5, right? So
the Mad Max way.
Yeah, exactly. Just because it's going to all these different places. So they are feeling squeezed. There are tons of agencies, tons of smaller shops popping up, taking all the business too. So I think a lot of these agencies where there are some brilliant creatives in this industry. I've met them and I've had the chance to work with them. But I have also seen like they don't want to fuck up. They don't want to lose a job. They don't like if they fuck up, then the business goes away, then they get fired. Right.
Exactly.
So like they probably, and I know that they're working on these things for where maybe I'm involved for a commercial or I'm involved in a commercial for 2 weeks. They've been working on this commercial for 6 months, going back and forth, rewrites, revisions, pitching the idea, getting
you
turned
need that
down.
machine to get that work done.
Exactly, right?
Absolutely.
So like as much as it sucks sometimes, because like, oh man, this could be such a good idea. Why don't we do it like this? Well, because they can't.
There's 10 layers to get through.
So many layers, right? So you kind of like, as like a creative, as a director, a freelance filmmaker, that can be frustrating. But I think the more we kind of realize that, and there will be jobs that come along, right? There's tons of directors out there that seem to be getting like those really, really good ones. It's just, you gotta put in the time. You gotta do some of those jobs on your own as far as like, I hate the word spec, but like
It's a good way in, though. It's
yeah.
a good way in.
Yeah, you got to be able to show your chops somehow.
That's the best way I tell people to get into music videos. Like, not really a spec music. Spec, I translate spec as you paid for it and you produce it yourself.
Yeah.
And no one gave you the opportunity per se. So it's the same thing with like music videos. Go to an artist and pay for it yourself. That's like the number one way is like go make a music video. So get it. I can't think of a better way to get into commercials other than go make a commercial.
Well, yeah. And even if you want to be a filmmaker and you're just trying to get into commercials to make a living, then make a film that, like, you know, you can get commercials based on films that you make. Of course,
yes.
So if your desire is to make a film, then make a film.
And I do think people lose track that like filmmaking is like a craft, a job, just like construction or just like plumbing.
Yeah.
Like, you can hire everybody. And I joke about this. I was at a high school a couple years ago, like my former high school, talking to them. And I'm like, you can go hire my cinematographer right now. I'm like, you could be 10 years old. If you have the day rate, you can pay him. He's going to take the job.
Yeah.
Arguably. But you could put together like a kick-ass team and make something absolutely amazing if you front the money. You can do whatever you want if you have the money.
Yeah. There's this guy, have you ever heard of Andrew Dezen?
Sounds familiar.
He's a young guy. He's probably maybe younger than you. He was on Frank's roster for a bit. I think he went to school in Oakville, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, he went into something like 50 grand worth of debt producing 3 short films. From there, he has now signed with one of the biggest production companies in Toronto. He is repped by a big production company in the States, in Europe, and India. He's all over the place. There's a band called Alaskan Tapes, and he just did like a short film series with them. And he gets some really good commercials, but his short films that he's doing right now are incredible, and all because he invested in himself. He had a vision and he produced these films. And it's crazy. Like, it's as like an older, I'm not old, I'm 30, but seeing like a 26-year-old doing these things,
have the wisdom to make those choices,
and just like, have the balls and like the vision to do it. It's incredible, and it's incredibly inspiring, and it makes you like kind of question yourself as like a filmmaker, but it's also very inspiring to see that. Absolutely. And just to see his success. He does not care about commercials as much. It's commercials are a way to make money, and you can make very good commercials, but I think the commercials he's getting now are a reflection of the films that he made in style and all that, right? Like, it's very difficult to go into a project and pitch an idea if you've never done it before.
Exactly. Yeah, of course.
So
yeah, that's a scary thing.
Yeah. Like, imagine, like, I would love to make a super like emotional, like heart tugging, make the people cry commercial. I love those. Yeah. I don't know why. It's just my thing.
For sure.
But I'm finding it hard to get those because I haven't done them yet.
Okay. Well, you've got some background in there, don't you?
A little bit. I'm trying. I'm in the process of writing a couple projects, like short films.
Just start with your own story.
That's the thing.
The
and
transplant thing.
Yeah, it's all kind of based around that. So, yeah, even my production company's like, you should really just shoot a spec on like kidney disease.
Exactly.
And I agree with them. And so I'm kind of like trying to develop an idea.
Take the work away from the sick kids. Whoever has the sick kids commercials
Mark
right
Siebert.
now. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's killing
Those
it.
are heavy duty.
They're
the one right now in movie theaters. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah. Sick Kids has a very strong campaign going right now.
Yeah. They're killing it. They're like known for that now.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
definitely. Cool. Yeah. And it's good to see that. I like working for good causes and stuff like that. I think that's kind of the avenue I'd like to go down. So yeah, one day.
And the emotional thing is key for commercials. I find my favorite commercials are the ones where like they almost make me cry by the end. Yeah. I'm always like, nice job, like that was great, and they're very memorable. Yeah,
30 seconds, and it impacts you that much. That is advertising, right?
Exactly.
If you can have somebody watch your thing in 30 seconds, and it's moved on to the show or the next commercial, and they're still like, I feel something.
Yeah. When they see that
success.
Product out in public, they're gonna buy it.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So I've done music videos, a few. Don't particularly love doing music videos as like the director on them. I don't mind shooting them because I think it's fun, but have budgets gotten any better?
Well, for me, it's funny because people talk about how budgets have been slashed, budgets have been cut, and I hear it at the Prism Prize. They go on stage and they kind of make jokes about how the budget's been slashed. For me, the budget, there's never been a budget. Okay. So it's only been up from here.
Right,
I'm like, I've never had the luxury of like $100,000. But basically the budget does reflect where the artist is at in their career. And it's not, they're not any bet. I'm finding independent artists are willing to fork over $2,000 to $5,000 more often. Like I rarely get the artists now who come at me with like $500. I think everyone's learned their lesson. They've been shamed enough.
Yep.
That's like, you need like $1,000 at least if you're going to make a music video. And that barely covers like day rates of anybody. But right now, like my sweet spot's like 10 to 20K.
Yeah.
That's like the sweet spot. And compared to commercials, like that's ridiculous. And I can understand being a director, why that would just like not piss you off. It's just like, what do you do with 10K? 10K can go away on food.
But you can do a lot with that also.
True.
Like I've done a few commercials that are, not much higher than
You'd be
that.
surprised,
So
right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so the budgets haven't improved, but I think what I've done always is like they give me the amount and I deliver on time and I don't ask for more and I kind of just play in my own sandbox. So it's gotten to the point where I'm not like thinking how I'm going to make, I don't think how I'm going to make 10K fit my idea. I make my idea fit 10K.
Right.
So whatever they're going to give me, they're going to get something amazing out of it. And then for me is I'm still, because I do corporate editing on the side, I'm still putting a lot of the budget back into it. I don't pay myself.
Okay.
So the joke is like you give Miguel like a $8,000 budget, he'll turn it into 16K. And like my friends are laughing about that. Like, you'll double your money. And it's like, yeah, like my own expense. I know, but it's been worth it so far.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like go and like be someone's parent and say like, you should put your fee back into the video. But the best way to increase quality without asking for more money or without asking for people's free time is just to put your own money into it.
Sure.
And that's one of my rules is like, nobody works for free. Like on music videos, like we're making a commercial for the artist.
Yeah.
People call things like passion projects. I get that. And like, I don't know if you've done that. I'm not trying to, I'm not sub posting or sub tweeting anybody right now, but like you shouldn't use the phrase passion project for something that's free. I think everything you should do is a passion project. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I don't like the language. But always put your money on the line. That's the best way to increase things. And that's why like, yeah, when people complain about budgets, I get it. But I've always put my money into it. So like, even if somebody came with me with $100,000, the first thing in my head is like, okay, how are we going to maximize this 100K?
Yeah.
I'm never thinking like, wow, I can pay myself 10K out of that or whatever.
Yeah. You should, if that does happen though, you should probably take some money out of it for yourself.
Of course. Especially if it's USD, that's different. If it's USD, then hey, like we're all 8K is awesome in USD. I love it when the money's USD because that's just fun for everybody. But I'm more like concerned about like artists letting me like do my own thing and not making performance videos. That's where I'm at. Like the budgets, like you can complain about them all day, but right now, like I'm all about the creative and I don't want to make performance videos. I'd rather make a story video for 3K than a performance video for 10K.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's just
100%. You got to develop it that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, that's good to hear that you're obviously keeping busy and that's good. But what I always found when I was doing music videos is it's one artist as like the director or the filmmaker working with another artist or another group of artists. Do you ever find there's ever headbutting? I personally always had like a few clashes with other artists just because you think it should go one way, and not to discredit them because they're also artists. So you have to respect what they're saying and they have a vision for it too. But like there also has to be a kind of, I think with music videos, you have to find like a middle ground and then just allow the director to take it from there.
Exactly. Well, for me, it's definitely nuanced. It depends on the context.
Okay.
If I have like a relationship with the label and they're like, here's this artist and they're difficult, like the artist is always right. I treat the artist like a diva, whether or not they're a diva.
Right.
On set, I treat them like they're God because it's like kind of manipulative in a way because I just want them to give me what I've planned on paper.
Sure.
So if I go home at the end of the day with all the footage I have, I will bend over back. I'll do whatever you want. I'm like your slave to get what I want in the edit.
It's a strategy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about manipulation. That's direct. But the way I've like built my reel and like all my work is I have barely any commercial work as far as front facing, and like lots of my work is very like experimental, and I like use different formats and different cinematographers. I'm always trying to be creative and stuff. So like my tools kind of go beyond the knowledge of the artist or the label. So most of them understand that like, hey, we want you to do your thing. And that's what I expect when they approach me. I've had times, yes, where an artist comes to me and we're not on the same page. At the end of the day, I'm like, why did you come to me if you wanted to control me? I'm nobody's puppet. And I've had like a few times where I've had to like go away from the project. But those kind of things, if you think there's going to be friction, it usually happens right in the beginning.
Right.
You can tell like when you're pitching your idea, and you can tell in their tone, the artist's tone. But rarely do I have diva situations, especially by the time we get on set. I think artists appreciate when like you're kind of laid back and in control. For example, I work with Tillian. He's in a band called Dance Gavin Dance, and they're a pretty popular band. And he's not famous, but he's getting famous. Sorry, Tillian. But he's not mainstream famous, but he's definitely like got fans and stuff. But he came on set with us, and it was just me and a cinematographer, and we treated him like any other guy. I treated him like he's any other person, just a friend. And I think like he appreciated that. And I think it made him more comfortable that way.
Yeah.
So I try and avoid working with divas. I know I might have to eventually.
Sure.
But I don't think that's the best way to get a result. Like I'm in it for the result and like making something that's timeless at the end of the day. And if they don't want to come on board with me, like that's cool. Like we'll go our separate ways. It's all good. And what gives me comfort, like some opportunities come and go. Sometimes you don't click with people. Like in the end, as directors, we're going to change for the next 60 years. Like we're going to do all kinds of things. Who knows where we're going to be next year at this time?
Exactly.
But artists, particularly like musicians, arguably they're themselves forever. And that's my whole thing. I have told, like, I'm like, you can hate on me all you want. I'm a chameleon, and like, you're the artist. Like, that's it forever. Like, you're, like Neil Young is Neil Young for the rest of his life. Like, that's it. One thing. And like, but we're always changing and learning. So, yeah, like, I'm just been lucky that I haven't had too many crazy diva moments.
I think by the time that you're dealing with like divas, I mean, it would be tough if you were dealing with a diva now that it's like, you know, at like a similar level. If they're not like a huge band or something like that, it'd be tough being like, dude, like look where you're
Smell
at
the
kind of
roses.
thing. Yeah. But like by the time you're dealing with divas, you're also going to be like, well, not a diva, but like at the same level. So you'll kind of have like a mutual respect. Like I think a diva, I'm not, okay, this is a bad example. I don't know if like a big artist, what would be a big artist that you think would be a diva?
Who's the guy who did the music for the last James Bond? What's his name? British singer, male. I can see him being a diva. Someone who's like, divas, that's the wrong word for it these days, but I think, how about somebody like Kanye? They just know what they want, and like it's worked for them, and they don't want you to come, they don't want to add any ingredients that already wasn't there.
Yeah, but like they're probably also not going to work with a director that they don't mutually respect
or know they can control otherwise too.
Maybe that might be it. I'm just thinking like if I was ever lucky enough to direct a big music video with like somebody that's acting like a diva, I would just hope that there's at least a little bit of mutual respect, that they're not a diva to the director, maybe everybody else on set, but like there's a mutual kind of like, I'm not going to treat you like a piece of shit because you're obviously an established director also and you know what you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
So
we're all in it for the same journey. Like, and I think as a director, you have to explain your vision in pre-production and the destination. Everybody is aware of the destination.
Yeah.
Like, and that should be in plain English. And it's your producer's job to make that across. It's the director's job, and everybody needs to be on the same page. Like when you're on the road and traveling and everyone thinks you're going to San Francisco and the artist is like, we're going to Vegas. You're like, no, we've been talking about San Francisco for months. Like we're going there. So I think like if you get to the set point and there's friction, like that, those were like festering. Those problems were already like under the surface.
Nothing you can do about that.
Approach.
Yeah, exactly. And it's probably about something completely you know, void of what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
I keep unlocking my computer because I think that I have notes to look at, but I don't. So
no worries.
Close that.
Yeah, we can just talk. Ask me something that you think I won't answer. That like is like an area we shouldn't talk about.
Okay.
Because there's tons of taboo in filmmaking.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the taboo. Like the hierarchy thing you talked about, for example, I was on my friend's feature film and the hierarchy was there and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, like you have to treat this like the director doesn't talk to grips. The AD talks to grips.
Okay.
And I'm like, what is this game of telephone? And I understand when you're in a feature film, there's lots of moving pieces and like that's how it works, etc. But everyone's got to be stoked at the end of the day. Everyone's got to be happy about what they're doing. And on my sets, no hierarchy. Every time I have someone new on set, I always tell them like, go out. You have a question for the DP? Go bother him.
Yeah.
Like, go and bother him and ask him a question because I want a good result. And I get the hierarchy helps on bigger operations for sure. Like, But once you're like shooting and in the zone, everyone should be having a good time.
That's the thing that it's weird because I think a lot of the producers I work with are surprised when I ask for certain techs to be on the job, because they're like, why are you requesting like this grip? Why are you requesting like this sound
like, why
person?
do you care about which grip? Well, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it's important to me because I need to feel comfortable with everybody. This may sound weird, and I hope that like if there are people in there listening and being like, oh, we're not going to hire this guy because he's obviously not confident. No, I'm very confident in directing. I just like to have people on set that kind of understand my style, because I have learned my style of directing is to be interactive with everybody. And for example, like the sound guy that I like, I know that like he's not sitting there being like this guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing, right? Like, no, he's like stoked to be there. He's like, he understands my style of directing. If he has a question, he will ask me. We'll get it taken care of right away. I like that. And yeah, like I don't necessarily like, I know there's a time and a place, and it kind of depends on the project that you're working on for the hierarchy thing. But there was one thing where we had wrapped, and I went up to the truck and started like slinging stands and cables into the back of the truck. And the gaffer was like, dude, what are you doing?
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I was just like, man, I'm just chilling out. Like, I'm happy to help. I want to go home. You want to go home. But like, I don't know.
The director should be the last guy to leave.
Yeah, I believe in that.
He's the host of the party. Yeah. You don't just leave before you cleaned up.
Yeah.
You got to chill.
I know that there's times where like if you're doing a feature, you have to go look at the dailies and stuff like that. Just because you're leaving, your job is not over. But
that's different though.
But if you have the, hang out a bit and, get to know your crew a little bit, it's important. They're working for you. Theoretically, you're hiring them, right? So you're their boss for that day.
And you don't want to mutiny.
No.
And like, it's all good. Like it's the more you put into it, the more you're present, the better result. And like, they'll go up to bat for you. If you go over time, or like you need another day, or you need a favor, like that audio, you need something, or that audio guy, you have like a question and you can just text him instead of like, who do I ask? I was never nice to that person. I don't have their number. I don't know any audio guys.
And that's a great way to look at it too, because I've been in scenarios where we have to go 5-10 minutes over, or we have to come back early from lunch. There's a couple people that I call every single time, because the amount of times where I've been like, hey, are you guys cool to like come back 10 minutes early from lunch and get going? And they're like, hey, if it gets us out of here early, let's do it. And they're super game to do that stuff. And that's the kind of people I like working with. We're all just, I mean, there's certain rules now that you got to try to adhere to, just because whatever it may be. But for the most part, like we've all gotten into the same position doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And are in it for the same reasons. It's just now it's more of a job. So I understand you can't step on certain toes, but yeah, there's definitely enough people out there that are willing to put in the time and to do a good job.
For sure.
That's why I don't know how you feel about unions.
I joke that we should start a freelance union where the fees go to solicitation to get things paid. That all it is solicitors. We have like solicitors who like get your invoices paid. That's all your fees go.
That's great. And that's actually a point I want to talk on, because I've seen a few tweets that you've sent out, and you're an advocate for people owing money.
Sure.
Personally, drives me nuts when I know the person that owes me money.
You've got still some outstanding, don't you?
Of course I do.
Yeah. Okay.
That I'm dealing with currently.
And I'm one of the rare ones. Nobody owes me money right now, but like you, Christoph, like I know a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like nothing drives me more crazy than somebody that I know is sitting behind their office desk with a full-time job, benefits, and they are like, they kind of don't have a sense of urgency to like pay the person that doesn't have any of that. And they don't understand the severity of not paying somebody on time, because you got rent to pay. So do I. Am I just friggin' living on the street? Like,
and it's like, it's part of your plan. Like filmmakers, we plan. Like we're scheduling our lives, we schedule everything. Everything is all planned. And you know when that money's coming in, and you're counting on that money. And you're already asking everybody else for favors for others. Shoot, I can't go to my mom for rent every month. I cannot do it. And like, people, when they don't pay, it ripples across your whole life.
It does.
And then it just makes you resent the job. And I get agencies have like their processes and stuff, and the nice ones and the good ones, like they pay quick. It's possible. Like that's the thing. It's possible to pay quick.
They have the money.
Yeah, it's all good. Like, and I hate it when you ask an agency like, e-transfer me or wire me or whatever, and then they post a check. Like after you agreed this is the way it would be.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me want to go like, hey, I'll mail you the DVD then with the video.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you that up front.
The videotape.
Yeah.
So something on that topic that I've always kind of struggled with is I always feel like I feel bad asking for money for this job. I've never really treated this like a job, and sometimes I still can't believe that this is considered a job. There's that, and then I always feel bad sometimes following up with agencies or anybody, any client, because I'm like, oh man, if I like push the wrong buttons, they're never going to call me back again.
I never want to cross anybody, right?
Yeah, but it's tough because like in this year's, like this is the first year that I've actually felt confident being like, okay, if they haven't paid on time, then following up with them, and you don't have to be harsh about it, but there are times, Vice, that I've actually had to chase them down for months. They sent me instead, and it's weird because they actually, instead of sending me the money that they owed me in overages, because I was like, you know what, Vice, I know how big you are. This is inexcusable how late you are. I sent them overages, and instead of paying me the overages, they actually sent me like a $50 gift certificate to LCBO.
Whoa.
So like that, like they openly admitted.
In addition, was that did you bill them just for overages or like your fee plus overages?
My fee plus overages.
And did they send you your fee back?
They sent me my fee
and a
finally,
gift card.
And a gift card instead of the overages, which was quite a bit less than the overages. And they did not respond to like they were. Oh,
that's worse than not sending the money. That's like a power move.
It was terrible.
Part. Yeah.
Like I was being like, I'm coming to your office right now. Have the check ready.
Yeah, and like for example, my sister, she's just starting to work with the agency, and she's trying to follow up on overages, and there's not like a rule book. They don't teach this part about how to like navigate the social aspect of asking, because you don't want to burn the bridge.
Of course not.
But for example, like I'll talk about it, like Dine Alone Records. I shouldn't even talk about this. It's bad because Seaway is on Dine Alone. But I've done like 15 music videos for Dine Alone, and I went and shot a live thing for them for like $300. I got like there was no production, no notice, no nothing. I just showed up. Nobody wanted to plug me into the board. No one cared about this video thing. I gave the footage after. Months went by, they weren't paying me. And then their Instagram account follows me, keeps interacting with me, and I DM Dine Alone. I'm like, what are you doing? You guys owe me money, and you're interacting with my account. And they're like, we don't know anything about this. They were starting to be very rude to me. They were like calling me out. I'm like, you guys, like, are you dense? I've done like 15 videos for Dine Alone. They owe me money right now. But the project's not complete. But basically, I just demanded the money, and then at some point they're like, "Come drop off the hard drive, and we'll give you your money." And I show up at Dine Alone, and the person who's supposed to accept my hard drive, they won't even see me face to face. They send some secretary down to take the hard drive upstairs. They come back with the check. I'm like, it's disgusting how they won't face me face to face. They weren't like upfront about paying me, and basically it's like I've put in so much work creating this relationship with Dine Alone, and they'll barely communicate with me now, even though I'm still doing work for Seaway. It just makes no sense to me.
Do you know the person? Like, have you met that person personally?
I think I met her. Yeah, I think I met them personally. Yeah, and it's just annoying to me. It's because it's like I don't schmooze, like I said, and I don't go to the like Dine Alone has like a party. I don't go to it. I don't do this. I don't do that, and that's what makes me feel like I'm like never in the in crowd. I feel like people don't like Dine Alone doesn't like me because I don't go out and drink with them. I don't go out and do stuff with them, and it just annoys me because all I've done is work and all I've done is deliver. And then now speaking towards like how you feel this year asking for money, like asking for the money that is owed to you. As a director, I've always like questioned like, oh, should I be paid for this? Or like, damn, this is the easiest job in the world. But now I'm realizing that I'm pretty sure we've always delivered on time. You and I have that in common. And if you can deliver on time, if you can be like a nice guy, not cause problems, and if you have great ideas and you execute.
And you go above and beyond.
That's what your value is.
Yeah.
Like directing on set, that's like one thing. But I think if you can create a production and like deliver, like that has tons of value. So now when the label reaches out to me, I know my value because they know Miguel's going to deliver early, on time, quick. And like, that's my difference between everyone else. And that's how I feel good about demanding money. And then Dine Alone, at a certain point, like you have to like stand up for yourself. Like, so basically I build up this repertoire with them doing like 15 videos. If they're not going to respect me, then they're never going to respect me.
Yeah.
So you have to just get your money and check out. Boom.
It's weird. Do you think it's Dine Alone as a whole? Is there multiple people like that? Or is it just this one person that you had this interaction with?
It's not like, I don't think it's a problem at the agency. I just think like they like put this on the back burner. It was just live footage. And like, they really kind of overextended. They were like, yeah, we need this footage. And then I went and shot it. And they were like, we don't really need it. So they don't want to pay for it. And if I was like a freelance videographer, okay, like, he's not going to follow up with the money, but I'm a director and I've worked with them many times on like lots of projects, and I've always delivered and I've always been the nice guy. And that got me nowhere with them. It got me nowhere.
It's interesting because I find a lot of these companies, the way they do it, they do it to people that don't have, like when it happens to me, it never happens when I work with my production company, but it always happens when I do like just the freelance, like direct to client type thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's weird how they feel like they can do that to the little guys a little bit that don't have anybody in their corner, but not the big companies, because they know that like lawsuits, right? Like they have the money for that stuff.
And I don't want to work with people like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's why I'm willing to say Dine Alone, because if Dine Alone wants to go, hey, we're not going to work with Miguel anymore. From my perspective, they're like, we don't want to work with Miguel anymore because he got mad at us. We didn't pay him.
Yeah.
And then when we paid him, we didn't give him the respect of seeing him face to face. Like, so it's like, why? I'm never going to want to, I'm not like a puppet. I'm not.
Yeah.
So
it's easy to be tough on DMs, place. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, I showed up in person and they weren't showing me any respect. And the whole thing is like, if you're not going to be cool, if it's not going to be like a great relationship, I don't want to work with you anyways.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a chameleon. It's all good. Like, you be you and I'll be me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be still in the game. I'm never going to be out of the game.
Yeah.
Because I know in my heart, I didn't do anything wrong. I
Yeah.
know in my heart, it's in the right place. And I'm doing this for the right reasons. And those people who are, it's all business and they're trying to like, you know, not pay you or do this or do that. I'm thinking about the project. I'm trying to deliver the project. The money I get at the end, that's like a surprise. It's like, oh, wow, like you have money. This is great.
Yeah.
But I've realized money can't buy happiness. Like, and it cannot. And I know that's like a funny phrase, but it's like, when I have money in my bank account, I got nothing to do with it. I'm like, what am I doing? I got nothing.
Got to spend it on a music video.
Exactly. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have nothing. It can't buy that happiness or anything. And like, I think more people should talk about people who got burned, like how you mentioned Vice and I mentioned Dine Alone. And I think more people should talk about these things because the stigma around it benefits them.
Yeah.
It only benefit me being secretive about everybody who wronged me only benefits them. If people want to be mad at me for voicing dirty laundry on a podcast, maybe they should get their priorities straight in the first place.
Yeah. And not be such a piece of shit over $300.
Yeah. It's $300. It's like,
right. It's like, it's tough. Cause it's like, there's been so many scenarios like that where it's like on my end, it's like, oh, it's only $300. Like don't burn a bridge or don't be, you know, don't make a big deal out of it. But at the same time, it's $300 to a massive company.
Yeah, exactly. And the bridge goes both ways.
Exactly.
Too. And you can have an ego about that.
Yeah.
Remember.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's all good.
Like next time Dine Alone comes along, hey Miguel, we want you to do a music video. Yeah, sure. My rate's $10,000 plus.
Add another zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For example, like right now, I'm trying to, I hope this doesn't come out in the next month. Maybe it will. But like I'm doing a project, I'm traveling with Seaway. And they're going to give me, this is what it's like being a director. Okay. So you get 50% up front and then you get 50% up at the end. Okay. I've done like 15 music videos for Seaway. They're my best friends. Like there's no chance that I'm not going to deliver. If I don't deliver, I ruin my relationship with 5 people I've known since I was a kid.
You lose more than just money.
It's amazing, like what the risk is. And I've never not delivered. And basically like they're just dangling this 50% out on the back end. And I've gone to the people who I should go to and I'm like, can I get that up front so I can spend it on the production? I'm not paying myself. I want this money to put it into the production.
Yeah.
And there's no movement on that. I asked a month ago for that money. Haven't seen it yet. Meanwhile, another label, they'll pay me up front. Like Rise Records, they pay me up front because they know I'm going to deliver. And I get, everything has context. I get like 50% up front, 50% back. But if you have a legacy director like me in this context with Seaway, I'm going to deliver. Dude. That's what I mean. Like, I just mean like, it's just like, I'm going to give you your product. So like, why are you dangling this 50%? Especially the whole like thing that hurts me about this is every Seaway video, I have gone above and beyond the budget. I've put so much money into it. I never, ever, ever pay myself. So I'm just getting dragged. I'm just getting dragged through the dirt. It's funny.
It's almost like you have to, it's on you to cut it off somehow.
Yeah, well, I kind of did. Like thankfully, they're only the Canadian rep of Seaway. I don't deal with them on opportunities or pitching. Okay. And Yeah, like my tone. I think the boss at the label emailed me about this problem, and I emailed him back, and I told him like I didn't appreciate, like basically the person on Instagram was like, we don't know who you are. We don't know who you are. And I'm like, you don't know who I've tagged you guys for 5-6 years, like millions of plays.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, it's just disrespectful. And he never replied. He never replied. And you know what? I'll call, like, that's not good leadership. I'm sorry. If I have a gripe on my sets, if somebody has a gripe, I'm going to reply. I'm going to get it settled. Like right now, I don't know if a video is going to, I don't know the release date of a certain video and the client isn't being responsive. So I've got my producer calling them, making sure everything's okay. Like, are you proud of the video? Are you happy with everything?
Yeah. Did we do something? Because you got to address that stuff.
So it's not a nice way to run things. And are there consequences for them? No. But does it really make a difference in the grand scheme of things of the world? No. But, I think it affects the product. Yeah. I always want to make something timeless and amazing, and these people just get in the way of that.
It's whether we like it or not, it's part of the business, I guess, right? But like all that being said, with all of these things kind of like happening to you right now, it kind of seems like you've got a good head on your shoulders for like being able to like balance it and not really let it jade you towards
never going to be jaded,
which is
ever
awesome, because
I hate to see that.
I know it happens so much. And I mean, I've caught myself a few times saying things. I'm kind of like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be so negative, because there's obviously more to the situation than I know.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. It's tough because nobody likes getting screwed over.
Nobody. And I just like glass house stones. Like I conduct myself and my delivery and the post-production, everything in a way I want to be treated. So like, I don't break the rule not once. I shot a video on Friday, Saturday. We're locked today. Well, yesterday we were locked.
Wow.
And like, that's what you get when you play nice and everything is fun.
Yeah.
And like, it's all possible for everything to go well. And my whole thing is like, it's easy to be nice. People say like, people be mean for so many different reasons, but it's easy to be nice. Like if you can't be nice and like you need to like chill or like figure yourself out a little bit, because it's so easy to be a good person and a nice person. Like it's no problem.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's no guff.
And I mean, when you talk about that on set and how you interact with people, when you are chill with people, you treat them properly with respect, no matter who it is, what role they have, they're going to work hard for you. Yeah,
they're going to go to bat 100%.
Right? And you need that, because I'm sure the same thing in music videos is you have a time limit.
Yeah. And for example, like I want people to be proud of their work and I want them to be happy to be there. And like I hire like an actress, and if she doesn't post about the video once it comes out, I might not hire her again, because if she wasn't proud about it, I want to hire someone who's proud and stoked as I am.
Yeah.
And I've had bad situations where like they're only in it for the money. Like I've had people come up to me right at the end of the day holding their hand out saying, pay me.
Yeah.
And it's all about the money. Like I'll never hire you again. I'll never recommend you again, because
exactly.
I want you to be stoked as I am. I'm happy to be here. It's all good. Like
it's interesting because there's been a few people that I've talked with in the last couple of years, and I get it. Like, especially where I am right now, like when I get a job, I'm happy because they're so few and far between right now, bidding on a lot of things.
Sure.
And it's just kind of part of the battle. I love it, but I hate it at the same time. It's difficult. But there's been a few people that like mutual friends that are directors, and they'll call me up like, oh, I got a job. Yeah, I'm making X amount on it. And it's kind of like, cool, that's good for you. What's the creative though?
Wait, why are they calling you about that? Like,
well, they're stoked about the job.
Okay.
But
what's your role in the production? Are they just bragging? Are they just?
Well, no, I'm not involved in this. So it'd be like, they'd be a director, and we're kind of in the trenches, the same thing.
Okay.
Going through the same thing, right? Yeah. Like pitching on jobs, not getting jobs. We land a job. But like, and so it'd be like you, like if, for example, if you got a really big music video for an awesome band and we're talking right now and you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing this music video for so-and-so. I would be much more intrigued in what's the concept? What's the creative? Yeah. Than like, oh, cool, how much are you making? And there's been a few people that have been like, oh, I just got this really sick spot. I'm making X amount. And it's kind of like, cool, what's the idea though?
Yeah. It's all about the idea.
It's been like, for me right now, like I fully understand there's a fiduciary responsibility to make an income.
Sure.
This is our jobs. But as a director, I am far more interested. I have a job coming up, and talk to the producer. I was like, I wanted a good DP on it. So I was like, and the budget's tight. And I was like, man, take some money out of my rate and give it to the DP because I'd much rather have him on it.
Exactly.
And where was I going with that? It's always about doing justice to the job and doing good creative and making it a success before it's always been like, oh man, I'm making X amount on this project.
Yeah. And that's like, that's a bad road to go down because once you start quantifying your success and your happiness by like how much you're getting on each project or how much the budget is, like you're never going to be happy because things are always in fluctuation.
Yeah. And I think that, and I think that people kind of like catch on to that mentality and realize that you're kind of not into it for the right reasons. Yeah.
And it's not sustainable. I mean, it's if you're hype and you're killing it at a certain time and you're not focusing on the ideas, like that's going to expire. Like, and that's why I've been trying to be sustainable because it's all about the ideas with me. It's all about it. Like, I want bands reach out to me and it's all about me pitching just like you are. And it's all about the idea. The number is like completely secondary unless it's like, $1,000.
Well, then it's difficult.
That's hard.
Yeah. Oh,
it's very hard. I'd like $1,000, but let me go do whatever I want and you have no say in it.
That's, if a band came to me with that, I'd be like, yeah, I got nothing going on, but like you don't get a say.
You have no say. Because like your say, that's not the best way to spend the money. I know how to spend $1,000 to make it look like 10 grand.
Exactly.
They have no idea.
Exactly.
Everybody's an executive producer.
And it's often they come with like, they have a big elaborate idea, right? I remember a couple of years ago, I was talking to a band and they had like all of these elaborate ideas, like driving shots and car mounts and crap like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So like before we book the helicopters, how much money do you guys have?
Yeah.
And it was like $1,200.
Yeah, you can't do a car mount. You can't get the insurance.
Yeah, what am I going to do? They were talking about driving down the DVP. I'm like, yeah, right, dude.
No, that's not gonna happen. And like, that's what's funny thing. Like I wrote Cars earlier this year and it was hell. And like now the producer, whenever we get projects, I'm like, I'm not writing Car into it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Because Car is a big expense. It's big. If you want to do it right, like insurance, mounting it, renting the vehicle, shooting on the vehicle, it's a lot of money. Like
it's a great production value, but like,
5K already.
Oh, definitely.
Like right there. It's a nightmare.
I don't think I come up with a music video idea without a car anymore, just because like it adds so much production value, but like it never gets done. So
I've learned that from Director X. Like cars are unattainable.
Yeah.
So like your audience when you're like now as an adult, we're like, if I really want a car, I can go get a car. But when you're 15, 16, people will watch music videos. Cars are like in your future. So yeah, if you can put it in a music video, it always blows up.
I will say this though, one of the guys that I started that production company with, Cycle, Dan Wood, he's a DP. Yeah. He showed me a video. It was like a dance / music video for some guy that shot it in Hamilton. And they actually threw camera tricks and they just like bought like a junk car and hired a tow truck and like flipped it over.
Nice.
And so through camera tricks, like literally like rotating the camera really quickly in quick cuts, they made it look like a car accident.
Unreal.
And then they were able to like flip it over and like break all the windows and shot out like that part of it to make it believable. And it was crazy. He showed it to me and it was very, very well done. You can fake it, but that being said,
that's amazing.
There was also gas leaking everywhere and potential for
did they do it legit
explosions,
or they guerrilla it?
Guerrilla.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's possible, but like I wouldn't recommend it because shit can blow up.
He's just saying that as a professional. Okay, he'll do it. He just doesn't recommend it publicly.
Yeah, exactly. Got to cover my ass.
That's music videos, man. It's do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jesse said this.
Dude, no, one of my favorite memories, and I remember this often when I'm doing things that I think are maybe a little bit sketchy. Like even on a commercial, Dan, I had somebody park their car near a curb in an open lane of traffic and another car behind it and had our camera guy like out. So he was protected, but like we didn't have the permit to do that.
Exactly.
And so my producers are yelling at me and all this stuff. Got the shot. But one of my favorite things, and this came to mind when I was doing that, was when we were in Vancouver. You guys were flying the drone off of what was the mountain?
The mountain. It's you can ski at it. What's it called?
Cypress.
Cypress. Yeah.
Yeah, we were up at Cypress, and some guy was like, "I'm a pilot.
Exactly.
You're infringing on my rights."
Yeah.
And then like we were like, "What do we do?" And you said, filmmaking is all about taking risks.
Yeah.
Filmmaking is about breaking rules. And that has stuck with me ever since. And it's true. I mean, there's a time and place for everything. It depends what you're doing. But like, if you're not pushing the boundaries with what you're making, then you're probably half-assing it, and you're not going to get the best results.
And I do think like the line is drawn at safety. So like if you're safe, if you're being safe, you can do pretty much with it. I would say do whatever you want if you're safe. Like literally do whatever you want. And like the system sustain itself. I think people who are like permit gripers and like those things, like these like systems are made, like you need the permit office needs films to be sustainable, and the films need the permit office. They like help each other. So like, I think it's important as a director and as like a person in the world to identify like what is like seriously like an issue and like what is actually just like, they want money. They want to make money. And it's like that in LA. Everything costs money because all these things are in place to make money. It's all like a business. So like you have to consider like, is getting a permit for this about safety, or is it about someone making money in a business thing? If it's a business thing, I never get the permit. It's always just about safety. And I think you're just trying to minimize the risk of getting shut down or not. Right. That's the whole thing about permits for me, is like, if I have no risk of getting shut down, then I'm going to not get a permit. But if there's a risk, then always have a permit, because you want to make your day. Yeah. But permits are whatever. Like, honestly, whatever. Like, if you have legit enough stuff, no one's going to care. But it's about safety. That's different. If you need like a supervisor, like a firefighter there, for example, like don't let anybody on fire without a permit. But, I do think like the systems are in place to like benefit themselves rather than to benefit the filmmakers. It's interesting. Like a lot of people just playing by the rules isn't always the way to do it. And that's filmmaking. Like that's just like how we get our end result, and that's how we like make it happen. You have to do like crazy things. And that's why people watch them, because crazy things are happening on the screen. If you're playing it safe, it's boring, right?
It's true. Your primary thing has been music videos for the last however long. Is that your end goal, or do you want to get more into the narrative thing, or like where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? I definitely like want to do narratives. And yeah, I think got a lot to say, but basically as a filmmaker, I think it's about like wisdom. And I think like in your context, being a commercial director, like say you're selling a product, especially something about health related, you're speaking to people of all ages. So if you have like a teenager's mindset or perspective, like it's only gonna relate to teenagers. So you need to fall on like the widest demo. And that takes a lot of like life experience and pure wisdom. You have to know, like, for example, like I don't want to make anything that like a biker off the street will watch and think it's corny. It needs to like hit the widest range. That's why like I'm staying away from narratives right now, because I don't feel like I have that wisdom yet. I want to keep gaining that wisdom to get to the point where I can direct this stuff. So right now I'm just doing music videos and just like going with the flow on these music videos, and I'm just getting emails and like just doing what I can. I'm addicted to the pressure. Like I love the pressure when a label is like time constraints and this and that. I'm addicted to the heat now. But my friend Jake, who's in that Netflix show coming out in February, I forget what it's called. It's called The Order, actually. Okay. So he has a production company called Abraham Gold. And like through his Netflix connections and through other connections, he's trying to just get more narrative projects going. So in like the long term, I definitely want to help him shepherd projects through as like an executive producer, post-production, marketing, things like that. And basically I want to like foster other directors, like say like LGBT directors related to LGBT stories, native directors for native stories, like really empower like new storytellers. And then when I have my own story, I'll just use the Abraham Gold route, hopefully. But basically, like I just want to keep creating, and luckily I get to do that, and I know what I'm doing in the next 2 months, which is like very rare for me, especially at this time of year. But I think with filmmaking, it's a lot about wisdom. So it's like a balance of me, like, yeah, I want to keep making music videos, but I also want to keep like learning about life, learning from other filmmakers like yourself and other people's experiences. And I think like directors need to be like empathy machines, I guess. Like we need like ultimate empathy. Like we need to be able to relate to like the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. Of course. Like I have to like empathize with Trump, for example. Like, and I learn from him, and I learn from everybody you shouldn't learn from, because the older you can be as a director, the better. Like if, like you said, like you're talking about the 40 to 50 year olds, if you can carry yourself with that much life experience without having to actually live it, then you've got it made. Well, that's why the majority of directors and even cinematographers and stuff like that in, you know, Hollywood, on big successful Hollywood movies, or even commercials, if you want to go there, they're all old. They've got the life experience. They know, and you need that when you're working with actors. You need to know that that was good, but maybe not believable. Like that.
Exactly.
The personality you're conveying right now isn't really fitting to the story because I've seen somebody else do that. You just need something to relate to from your life, and it takes a long time to get there.
For sure.
And I keep saying this to people when I try to explain it to, for example, my parents, or like what I do for a career, or anytime I'm going through things. This has really kept me grounded this year. This fact in knowing that filmmaking is a long game.
Oh yeah.
In so many ways. Whether it be just getting work or the things you learn from it, getting to be the best in your craft. It's like anything, but it's a long game, and it takes patience, and it takes hard work.
Yeah, and it's very, like, for me, I was telling my friend Luch the other day, like, it's very competitive, and if you can treat it like you're playing like a sport, and all the other people, like, you're an athlete, I'm an athlete, we're both basketball players on opposite teams. We're in the same league, same community, but it's competitive, but there's like no winners or losers, for example. But if you can treat it competitively, you'll be better off. Like, just picture, like, when you wake up in the morning, when you're getting creative, that's you in the gym, and people go to the gym every single day. So you need to be creative every single day. And it's the long game. Yeah. Like, play the long game. And that's how I treat clients. And that's how I hope to be treated, because I'm in this for the long run. Like, I'm not going to save them short of me dying. Like, I don't want to give up on this path. And that's the whole thing. Persistence is so beneficial. And as we talked about before, I haven't changed at all from this year to last year, yet this year's been like a banner year for me. Like, it's been so much great great projects. And it's just persistence. Like, I've barely done any cold emailing. It's all just been like people reaching out this year. And it's all because I'm staying in the game. The longer you can stay in it, the better you'll be. Like
100%. People drop off eventually because they get frustrated with the process of having to, battle it out every day. And then it's the saying, the cream always rises to the crop, or which is very much the case, but also people that are patient and can afford to be patient.
It's a lifestyle thing too. For me, I've made lifestyle choices on purpose that like puts me at a very minimum spend level. Like I've gotten to the point where like I can admit it now. Like, I don't like going out. I don't like going to bars. I don't like partying anymore. I just don't like it, and I don't want to do it. And I don't buy I don't buy clothes. I don't buy things. I don't buy anything really. And
you're a minimalist, dude.
Very minimalist, exactly, just like you. And that means like I can stretch the limit. I can go a month without any gigs. I can go a bit without this or that. And that's why I can stay in the game more. Filmmaking, people are kind of obsessed with like identifying as a filmmaker rather than being a filmmaker. So they want to go to the things, they want to go to the shows and the seminars and do all this and do all that, but that all costs money, and then you have to make that money back. But if you can just be a filmmaker for real, like, you can stay in the game forever. I find that mostly when people have problems and people complain about where they're at, it's all because their lifestyle doesn't fit their income. That's the bottom line. Like, I know people who hate their jobs, and the reason why they're in it is because they need to sustain their lifestyle. If they go out for dinner every night, they're not going to give that up. There's no way. But that's why you have to start like early at like keeping your costs low, because you can't be like this flashy guy. You can't until it just happens. Like, you just find yourself there. Like.
And that's what's so tough about social media is it's very easy to get lost in like, oh man, this guy is like putting out the best work. He lives the best life, which often is not necessarily true, but it can get you in a bit of a weird mindset. So that's encouraging for me to hear actually from you, because it's something that I'm trying to.
The minimalist thing is huge.
I'm trying to apply that, not for those reasons also, but for mentally, because I've realized that like my mental health in a way is very like before, when my place was very cluttered, I had tons of gear. I had just stuff everywhere. I was not happy, and I couldn't figure out why. And then all of a sudden I saw this documentary, Minimalism, on Netflix, very inspiring stuff, started getting rid of stuff. I immediately felt like my workspace, and like it looks kind of messy right now because I have all this stuff, but like when I have it cleaned, I can sit here with a cup of coffee and like I can be very productive and nothing is distracting me.
Yeah, because you don't own, they're not pets lying around. It's not ownership. You don't own all these things. All you own is like yourself and your ideas, and that's our value.
Exactly.
Like, without the ideas, you're nothing. And And yeah, like it's all lifestyle, and it is a cinematographer's game as well. The Instagram thing, you have to like be very objective about it. The people who are killing it are the cinematographers and like the ACs, because they're like getting hired like crazy. It's hard to be a director on Instagram because like we don't look cool at our job because we're not holding anything cool.
Yeah.
And like the work isn't necessarily like very frequent as a director. So you have to like realize like why, like I'm seeing all these guys working like crazy. Just consider their job too, right? Like
Sure.
Cinematographers, of course they're working. Like
Always
nuts.
busy.
Yeah, but directing is it's very interesting. And for example, I note that like you can't tell anybody you're an artist. You can't show up and be like, I'm a director. You have to like be a director. So cinematographers, they can like hold the camera on in a photo and be like, I'm a cinematographer. But there's no way to be a director visually without actually just executing and delivering.
I'll challenge you on that.
Yeah,
you just get
like a director.
and you get your headphones and you have them around your neck and the hat. Yeah.
Well, the hat's because I have no hair. Jesse has all the hair. It's crazy.
It's the flow.
And he looks like Darren Aronofsky. I'll always say that. It's sick. It's a great thing. Trust me. It's unreal. He's an amazing director.
Oh man.
And he has the same mindset as us. He has a very similar. He does his things his way. And there's a lot written about that, about like Noah, that movie, on how he butted with the studios because he was doing things his way.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that goes back to like, just owning like who you are, like what you're doing, and standing up for yourself. Because in the long game, if you're a puppet, like you're gonna get pushed aside.
You're not a director then. People are bringing you on to have a vision and to execute said vision. There's gonna be headbutting, but you have to stand strong.
Exactly, and the Star Wars guys, Philip Miller and Lord or whatever, they got fired. Like they're on to the next thing already.
Yeah.
Like, so if somebody disagrees with you, even at a scale of $200 million, you can get fired and you're just going to get hired. And James Gunn, fired from Guardians, he's writing the next Suicide Squad.
Exactly.
So, like stand up for yourself. Otherwise, you're
what
just a
are
puppet.
you? You bring no value. Yeah,
no value.
It's amazing. Well, Miguel, thank you so much for being here. This has been just an amazingly insightful conversation. I think there's going to be lots of young filmmakers and, experienced filmmakers alike that, the millions of listeners that I have will be really tapping into this. So it's awesome.
Stoked.
Where can people go check out some of your work?
YeahFilms.tv. That's YEAH. Or you can just Google Yeah Films. That's my Wi-Fi name, for example. My work is on there, and if you like pop punk, you're gonna love it. But in the end, like to all the young filmmakers out there, like just keep working and literally don't listen to anybody, especially us.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
about that? Like just don't listen to anybody. Do what you want. Be a maverick.
Yeah, I don't know if Logan Paul.
Exactly, be a maverick. But it just mean like just go out there and kill it. Like it's all the system benefits itself. All these checkpoints, all these hierarchy stuff, that is all to only benefit itself and not the product. When you separate those things, it's like the Steve Jobs thing, how he says like when you realize life's like a game and like you can just control like your future. It's the same thing with filmmaking.
Sure.
Just realize like what is benefiting people who need to keep their business alive and what benefits the project. That's the biggest advice I can give for sure.
Yeah, and patience.
Absolutely, patience is key, and I have none, and it's hard.
Yeah,
but I'm doing my best.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you again.
Great talking with you, Jesse.
Yeah, this has been great. Thanks for checking out the Road Traveled podcast. I hope that you enjoyed the show. For more episodes, you can visit jessedhunt.com/podcast, or you can find the show on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Now get out there and be a maverick. We'll see you next time.